don't you give a little more detail on the Chaos Marauders? Tell us how you translated what are essentially lunatic Vikings who mutate themselves into a viable MMO class.
Oh, that's definitively your question.
They're definitely lunatic Vikings that mutate themselves. I can give you the fairly dry, here's how it works kind of stuff.
You can use the crazy names and words.
Is that okay? So there's 3 states that a Marauder can go into. In other words, he can mutate, and he can mutate basically the left half of his body. So he has crazy club hand, he has crazy claw hand, and he has crazy meat axe hand. Different mutations give different innate abilities to the Marauder, and different mutations open up different active abilities you can use to the Marauder. Thematically on the IP, when you look at the abilities and the things that they can do, they fit really well with kind of the crazed Marauder feel. The way he looks and the way he mutates in, and it looks painful, and it's this horrible thing. Fits really well. It doesn't wear a lot of armor because it gets in the way of his mutations.
What's the clever mechanic word? What does he use? Is it healer, base, DPS, range, nuker, soaker,
he's a melee DPS. Melee DPS. So he's an up-front melee guy who puts out a lot of damage, can't take very much.
Is he front-loaded?
No.
Notice how I almost know what these words mean.
No,
he's not front-loaded.
He's pretty consistent in his damage.
Oh, that's okay.
He's okay.
So we were able to take the crazy idea.
Yeah. And plus he has other abilities like the crazy tentacle thing where the tentacles charge out of his back and do all sorts of crazy stuff. He has the ability where he can literally we give every melee DPS an ability to close with a ranged guy. So when he's running towards the ranged guy's burning him to the ground. The melee DPS is able to get to him, or in the case of the Marauder, the Marauder is able to bring the ranged guy to him. So he can literally reach out, crazy mutation goes, grabs the caster, the Bright Wizard, whoever it is, from 50 feet away, and yanks him over to put him right in front of him so that he can beat him down.
Like that.
It's awesome.
Every day. This is it.
One of the interesting things that I found in the demonstrations that you give is that you have different flavors of tanks, different flavors of other races.
Of everything.
Across the different races. Can you describe how that mechanic works in the design phase and how you put that all together?
So,
sacrifice 3 designers to a chaos god. Their heads exploded.
And then we pool their blood together, draw symbols in it.
Draw symbols, pray.
So, I'll do the boring part, you do the better part.
Ooh.
Is that right? No, I'll do the great part that's not quite as flamboyant as your part.
The factually correct, detailed, interesting.
So we have 4 types of careers in our game. We have melee DPS guys, we have ranged DPS guys, we have tanks or damage soakers, and then we have nuker healers. So each class in our game fits one of those 4 archetypes, period. Even though we have 4 different tanks, let's say, in our game, or excuse me, 1 per race, so 6 different tanks in our game. Each one of them behaves differently and plays differently, but they all fulfill the same role. So thematically, we can change them. We can change the way they absorb damage, for example, or the way they mitigate damage. So some tanks avoid damage. Some tanks just mitigate it. You hit them and they're encased in such heavy armor that they don't take very much damage. But overall, the point is that you can give damage to them and they can take it in some way. Each one just does it a little bit differently. And it's not different better, it's different. So your play style, the way you like things, the way you like the IP, whatever, is going to guide your choice, but you're still going to be able to play that tanking career if that's what you want to play. And so they play differently, but they achieve the same goals.
Wow. You should be an executive producer.
I think I should.
I think you should. That would be a great delivery. What's it like? Right. There was a visiony bit at the beginning by Mark about don't just make them cookie cutters. It's not the same. It's not a mirror. Yeah, we want replayability. We want people to be able to go, I want to experience this game again from another angle, doing something I like with a different flavour. So that was like a design overarching goal. What else did we have? We had a crazy game world full of crazy stuff that when you tried to match it together, it just doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, there's no way of looking at it. A marauder just isn't the same as a chosen, and it's just not the same as a black orc, and they're just not the same as the chopper, and they're not the same as the hammerer, and they're all different. So what you have to do is you have to say, right, what is the core goal? What is the satisfaction point we're looking for? And in a case of, you know, beating stuff up, it's I want to get to them, I want to beat them up, and I want to do things like be able to close on range. Okay, what's the IP got? How can we use it? How can we do that excitingly, interestingly? So what you do is you sit down, big whiteboard, and then reasonably crazy people, and you throw lots of crazy ideas out, for which actually Gamespy were very good.
Yeah,
Merrick came
absolutely.
over, it was tremendous. And you allow people to think crazy. And once you've got that written on a board, you then basically isolate all the stuff that is crazy and we can't do, and then you group together all the stuff that's fulfilling the main mission, and you look through the artwork, and you look at what people think we can code, then you hit people with hit people with sticks, and then we push it together and we go, that'll do, pig. It's quite sexy. Can we have exploding chickens? And that's pretty much how it works, really.
Okay.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Probably what he said.
So I need to cut out. 2:30. I gotta go.
You get one more.
One more.
Okay.
He's busy.
Well, I guess we'll wrap up then by discussing the Tome of Knowledge. I mean, other games have done, whether it be deed logs or quest journals or that kind of thing. Talk about the Tome of Knowledge and tell us why it's different, why it's bigger, why it's better.
Wow. So the Tome of Knowledge is integrated into everything that you just said. Yeah, great. It's the tip of the iceberg for the Tome of Knowledge. Everything you do within the game is tracked within the Tome of Knowledge, and even things that you haven't done but that we hint that you should do are in the Tome of Knowledge. So people you meet, places you go, NPCs that you kill, items that you get, things that you craft, like it's all in the Tome of Knowledge. The Tome is there as a scrapbook of your life. Yeah, plungers of death are in there. So these are things that the Tome of Knowledge tracks for you. And more than that, it's an achievement system. So it's a series of unlocks, a series of achievements. It rewards you with XP, it rewards you with new titles, new abilities for your character. This is your life within Warhammer. You can open the tome and see all of your history. You can show it to other players and brag about all the cool things that you've done. So the Tome of Knowledge is fantastic for that.
It's got to collect them all Pokemon.
Yep.
It's a sticker book. It's a family photo album. It's Xbox Live achievements. It's also there to remind you of why it is you're bothering to spend all your time, effort and energy and money on this game. Because it records and looks after and inspires you in so many different ways. It's absolutely tremendous. An example would be, when you wander around our game, there are certain groups of people, dark, terrible people, who insist on going off into the crazy places of the map they're not allowed to go. Because they like jumping over things and finding ways of staying alive and going where they're not supposed to be. I'm one of those people because I don't want to go down the road that they're giving me. I like the road less travelled and less collision detected. When you do that, however, you end up in a position where you're somewhere that the game was never supposed to make you do. And the general position is simple: put a death plane, invisible wall, stop you going there, go ha ha ha, go back. We don't do any of that. When we find one of these crazy places, we put something there. So, an example, which we have, if you go to the Dark Elf area, there's a boat. You can find your way to it, doesn't matter how. If you get there, you actually find this little scroll, and it unlocks a special secret quest through the Tome of Knowledge. And it goes, you're not supposed to be here, but as you got here, here's something to do. Now go back. If you go to the High Elf area, through clever use of the jump command, you can end up behind a waterfall that you're not supposed to be at. There you can find one of the plungers of the world. This is basically a big plunger next to a load of boom powder that the dwarves put there, and it says, well done, one of the plungers of the world has been found. You then activate the plunger, shh, it goes, you've activated a plunger of the world, it then blows you up, and knocks you back, all the way back to somewhere you should be, and then kills you stone dead when you land. And that's great. Now if you find all the plungers of the world, because you're one of those sort of people, you get a reward from your Tome of Knowledge. How ace is that? We also have these things called lairs, right? So you're wandering around, you're off the beaten track, minding your own back, you come across a cave, or a crypt, or something, and you go, what's that doing there? No one's told you about it, it's not referenced by any of the NPCs, there's no quest for it. You wander in, and there's a monster, or a box, or something that's not supposed to be there. And it basically says, I wouldn't mess with this, mate. It's probably very dangerous. But you mess with it, you know, because you're one of those players, like me. And when you do that, lo and behold, some terrible thing will happen, terrible creature or beastie turns up, and it's incredibly powerful. Way more powerful than the area you're supposed to be in. And then it eats you. And the terminology remembers that as well. So it's about giving you something that reminds you why you love the hobby of our game. It's so much more than just statistics tracking. It's a concept, and it's in every part of our game. It's not just an afterthought. It wasn't just tagged on. The game was built from the ground up knowing that we'd have it. And you really have to see it and experience it to get it. And once you do that, you'll go, this should be in every game.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I can't think of a better place to end. Thank you both so much for your
Thanks.
time.
Pleasure. Thank you
No
very
problem.
much.